my way. Feeling good, like I should.
Let me check my chest, my breath right quick. He ain't never seen it
Bible, there is emphasis for the mind, where it says in Matthew 22 verse 37, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whichever time it is for you, I got you. It's Bradley, the white polar bear, flow colder than frost, hailing from the southwest of Kenya, all the way up in Eldoret City. Welcome one, welcome all Brads. Glad you could join me on yet another episode of the Two's About Life series. It's almost a whole season. Thank you so much for making this possible. And if you're new, come close and get subscribed because we are going all the way. Today I'm glad to be covering the concept reality. So real quick, hopefully we'll answer what is reality? Is reality objective or subjective? What is the nature of existence? What is the role of consciousness in shaping our perception of reality, and how to shape your reality? I'm just gonna let you know we're about to have a good time. I love making videos like this that give us a chance to think deeply about various concepts, and we go even further and use whatever we've learned to help better our lives and the way we feel about who we are. So are you ready? Let's jump in, shall we? What is reality? As deep and as enduring as the concept of reality is, it stands as this like never-ending philosophical inquiry that no one's answer really could suffice. Hakuna msemo mwenye truly angeweza kuijibu in a way, because we all approach it subjectively, like from our own biased perspectives. If you desire to understand what reality is, many people look at it through many ways. We could look at reality as perception. This here view suggests to us that our reality is shaped by our senses and how intellectually our brains interpret them. What we perceive through sight, smell, sound, touch are what are real to us. This perspective does acknowledge that based on the individual experience that each and every one of us goes through, everyone goes through their own interpretations of the same. They may all vary, leading to different realities. But now, here questions will arise of how reliable are our senses to know what is real and what is an illusion. Through sight, I'd see a hologram and realize visual discrepancies. Then I'd go to touch it, then I affirm that it's all air and more of light. We may also look at reality as an objective existence. This holds that regardless of our perception, there is an objective reality that exists independently from us, basically suggesting that the real world is out there whether we are aware of it or not. This view aligns with scientific realism and scientific theories that aim to assert this objective reality. Is reality objective or subjective? Objective reality, as stated, refers to a reality that is independent of our minds, while subjective reality is that which is perceived and interpreted by an individual. It is not really a matter of either or situation, and many would actually argue that it's a bit of both, because there are facts and truths that are consistent and verifiable regardless of an individual's perspective. But both can be true. The idea that subjective reality is unique to each and every person, for we all have different perspectives and interpretations, including our feelings, opinions, and personal experiences. Let there be the objective world, but we are accessing it through our subjective perceptions. For example, a tree exists objectively, but our perception of its color, size, and beauty is subjective. Reality exists objectively, but we are all experiencing different realities subjectively. That's why you can't expect all of us to be on the same page, interpret the same way, because I'm accessing the objective reality through my own subjective perception. What is the nature of existence? In the Christian belief, we embrace a form of dualism, having the soul and the body. The soul is the immaterial, eternal aspect of self, meant to inherit eternal life, while the body is the physical material component, but all are creations of God. God, as the creator of the material body and the human soul, He set in place a divine design in the relationship between mind and matter, tying in all our realities and perceptions. In the Bible, there is emphasis for the mind, where it says in Matthew 22 verse 37, love the Lord God with all your mind, calling upon our reason, thought, and understanding in faith. For He who made the objective reality and blessed you with a subjective perception, you are to use it for His will in glory, as revealed to you through prayer. In all honesty, this deserves a good deep dive that I would not be able to truly satisfy in this episode, but I wanted to show you how reality is tied to existence, how you and me exist in the reality we are in, but I only found meaning in the Christian aspect, and I'm sure there are other philosophical insights that may counter this. That's fine, this is just me. What is the role of consciousness in shaping our perception of reality? Our consciousness actively constructs and interprets the world we experience. Here's how. Through filtering and selecting. Our consciousness will act as a filter by selectively attending to certain stimuli and ignoring others. This selective attention is necessary for navigation of overwhelming amounts of sensory information that we encounter. For we may be at a social event filled with lots of activities, people, groups of people, music in the background, and depending on what we choose to focus on, that is what we will remember. Have you ever been to a party and then after a few days later, you're not talking about the same event, how it went down, who was at that party, then you hear someone say some name and you could swear that you never saw them. It's literally the same thing. Your consciousness was filtering through and engaging with your interests, needs, and expectations. Thereby, it shaped your reality and closed off everything else. Thinking about it, this could also free you from the fear of being seen. You might exist in the objective reality, but you rarely pop up at the center of someone's subjective reality. Our consciousness also engages in interpreting and making meaning. Not only does it record sensory data, but it interprets it, assigning meaning and context. Our past experiences, memories, and beliefs play such a significant role in how we interpret sensory data. In an experiment, a rat was made to smell cherry blossoms. And each and every single time it smelled those cherry blossoms, it was electrocuted. From then on, the smell of cherry blossoms became a trigger to the rat and its forthcoming offspring. Okay, maybe this is such a primitive example, but in the same way, you'd see someone amass wealth in a short period of time, and that may trigger sentiments that you were trained on from a young age that they must have cheated in life somewhere. There is no way you could achieve all of that. That is now your reality, a limiting view to the growth and abundance of wealth in your life. Then there is just a person who is freed from this and lives in the impossible is possible. This just means that the two could perceive the same event differently based on their perspectives. Who would you like to be? On the last thing is our emotional states and how they greatly influence our perception. See, when we are in a negative emotional state, we are more likely to perceive the world in a negative way. The opposite is true. When we are in a positive emotional state, we are more likely to perceive the world in a positive way. So, should you really trust the thoughts you have when you are feeling low? All those, I'm not a good person, I can't trust myself, I'm so unworthy. I really think not. You shouldn't. You should stop and check in with your emotional state before starting to base your reality on all those thoughts being supercharged by your low emotional state. We can't always rely on our emotions. Instead, give yourself that grace. Yes, we don't feel so good, and that's the reason why we might be viewing self and the reality around us in a very dark way. It does not make them right. How to shape your reality. The process of shaping our realities involves our thoughts, perceptions, and actions. Let's break it down into a few elements. We will look at the power of perception, move to taking action, and look at a few key practices. Under the power of perception, we need our mindset, focus, and self-talk. Our mindset hugely influences how we interpret the world, the objective reality, as we have established. If you embody a growth mindset, which I really suggest you should, it will allow you to perceive challenges from the objective reality as opportunities in your own subjective reality, opportunities for learning and development. It is what it is. What does it want to be? Taking a step into our focus, where do we spend most of our time and energy on? Do we focus on our interests, even if we might not have found out yet what those are? Are we actively searching for them, those passions that would fulfill us? Promise me, if you find a lot of connotations in your life that are sad, depressing, and dark, promise me you will shift focus, because it's less about their existence in our life but more about the space we afford them in our lives. And you could regulate this with your focus. Are we focusing on the right things? With self-talk, we need to be very careful with the words that we use to communicate with self, because that is what will shape our beliefs and attitudes. When you start practicing more positive self-talk, this will build your confidence and resilience. Don't undermine your potential with negative self-talk. Now, let's take action. I'm a big advocate on note-taking. You can set your intentions and goals, have things that you want out of this life experience, and what you're working towards. This gives your life meaning and direction. Also know why, your intention, what is truly driving you from deep within. Once you do this, you can align your actions with your desired outcomes. Don't only align your actions, but move to take control of your actions. Yes, I know there are so many things that are out of our control, but what we do about them is in our control. When you take positive actions like breath work in times of stress, then these positive choices will influence our reality. Incorporate habits too, affirmations. Daily words that affirm our mental wellness will reshape our daily experiences. From the objective reality, it's all gonna stay the same, but deep within our subjective, we did the work on our mindset and we see ourselves in a more positive light, and our reality will just reflect the same through and through. Let me leave you with 3 key practices that you could try using to reshape your reality. One is mindfulness. You need to be more aware of your thoughts and emotions so that whatever happens, you could respond to those circumstances with great clarity and intention. Practice gratitude. When you express gratitude, it shifts your focus on the positive aspects of your life and your reality just becomes more positive. Then visualization. I don't know about you, but the more I sit down with what I want out of this reality, the more I sketch it out in my mind, I start to see what it could be. I write it down in detail. The more times out of 10, it truly comes out how I visualized it. So try it out and let me know. So, in essence, reality is vast. We have both our individual subjective perceptions and an external objective existence. While our senses and consciousness actively filters and interprets the world around us, shaping our unique realities through past experiences, emotions, and focus, there's also a consistent, verifiable reality that exists independently. Our beliefs, self-talk, and actions play a crucial role in how we experience our reality. And by adopting practices like mindfulness, gratitude, and visualization, we can consciously influence our perception and create a more positive and intentional experience of reality. It seems we have come to the end of the 9th episode of the Tools About Life series. In order to get the episode finale of this season, please consider subscribing. And if you're wondering how we got here, don't you worry, I have arranged a whole playlist just for this series. You can find it under the playlists tab. Thank you so much for listening to what I had to say, and I hope to see you at the end of this chapter. Stupendous.
Feeling good, like I should.
Let me check my chest, my breath right quick. He ain't never seen it in a dress like this.